What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. Today, I'll be taking a look at the entry list for the 2024 Iowa Corn 350 at Iowa Speedway. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. We're going to start talking about the one car for Trackhouse Racing. This will once again be driven by Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain's had an up and down year so far in 2024 and still is looking for his first victory in 2024. He looked to have a great run this weekend with Trackhouse Racing as the team looks to win their second race of the year. Of course, Daniel Suarez won Atlanta earlier this year. Ross is going to be looking to get that first win of 2024 this weekend at Iowa Speedway. Up next, talk about the two car for Team Penske. This one once again be driven by Austin Cindric. Austin Cindric's had an okay year in 2024. Of course, he won a Gateway a couple weeks ago, but outside of that, it's not been a great year for Austin Cindric, but he's looking to turn the season around. It feels like Penske is showing a little more pace and speed. He'll be looking to have a really strong run with Team Penske this weekend as he looks to get his second win in the last three races and make sure he's officially locked into the playoffs with a win this weekend. Up next, how about the three car for Richard Childress Racing? This will once again be driven by Austin Dillon. Austin Dillon has had a struggling year so far in 2024. I know Gateway went really well for him where he finished inside the top 10, but outside of that, it's not been a great year for Austin Dillon. He's looking to turn the corner this week in Iowa Speedway. He's won a truck race. He won here back in 2010 in the Truck Series. He'll be looking for a very solid run. We'll see what Austin Dillon can do with RCR this weekend. Up next, how about the four car for Stewart-Haas Racing? This will once again be driven by Josh Berry. While he is distracted currently trying to find a ride for the 2025 season, Josh Berry has still had a pretty decent year, and I think that he is going to have a really good run this weekend at Iowa. He's been really strong at short tracks, and SHR short track program has honestly been very solid in the past. He'll look for a very good run this weekend. We'll see if Josh Berry can potentially get his first career Cup Series win this weekend at Iowa. Up next, top of the five car for Hendrick Motorsports. This will once again be driven by Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson is coming off of winning his third race last week at Sonoma Raceway of 2024 and will be looking to go back-to-back this weekend at Iowa. He did test earlier this year. I think Kyle Larson will be one of the favorites going to weekend as he'll be looking to get his fourth win of 2024, trying to become the first person to do that. He looks to get the victory this weekend at Iowa Speedway. Up next, top of the sixth car for RFK Racing. This will once again be driven by Brad Keselowski. Brad Keselowski also did the test earlier this year with Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell. And will be looking to have a great run this weekend in Iowa. He's won here in the Xfinity Series multiple times before and is looking for a second victory of the 2024 season. Brad has been extremely consistent, and I think Brad will have a really good chance and opportunity to win this weekend. Up next, how about the 7 car for Spire Motorsports? This will once again be driven by Corey LaJoie. Corey LaJoie is coming off having a really solid finish at Sonoma, finishing in 11th place, and will be looking to get his first non-super speedway top 10 this weekend at Iowa. He's been a solid short track racer in the past, has had some good performances on short tracks, and I think he could have a good chance and opportunity for a good run as he looks to get another top 10 this weekend at Iowa Speedway. Up next, how about the A car for Richard Childress Racing? This will once again be driven by Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch has struggled a lot so far in the 2024 season. He's had a couple good runs, but generally it's been a struggling year for the A team. He's really looking for a bounce-back performance this weekend at Iowa Speedway, and luckily for him, he's been good at this track in Xfinity. However, we know the short track program for RCR has not been very, very great. He looks to turn the season around and turn the corner, and is hoping to have a good run this weekend in RCR at Iowa Speedway. Up next, how about the 9 car for Hendrick Motorsports? This will once again be driven by Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott is continuing to impress so far in the 2024 season as he has the best average finish of anybody in the field, is now second in the regular season standings. He's looking for a very strong run this weekend at Iowa. The Hendrick short track program has been pretty good this year, and I expect that Chase Elliott will have a very solid and strong performance as we're looking to get his second win, and I believe will be his 20th career Cup Series win this weekend at Iowa Speedway. Up next, top of the 10 car for Stewart-Haas Racing. This will once again be driven by Noah Gragson. While Noah Gragson's future, like Josh Berry's, is very uncertain, though he's been linked to RCR, he'll be looking to keep that off his mind and have a good run this weekend. Noah Gragson's been pretty good at short tracks, and I feel like the performance has been fading a little bit, but he's been pretty good at times so far this year. I think Noah Gragson has a good chance and opportunity to at least have a good run this weekend at Iowa Speedway. Up next, how about the 11 car for Joe Gibbs Racing? This one's going to be driven by Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin, unfortunately, last week had engine issues and an engine failure, but prior to that, he had 5 consecutive top 5 finishes in a row. And I expect that Denny Hamlin is going to have a really strong run this weekend at Iowa. The short track program has been very solid for Joe Gibbs Racing this season, and I think that Denny Hamlin will be very quick and very consistent throughout this weekend at Iowa. I expect a very solid and strong performance for the 11 team this weekend at Iowa Speedway for Denny Hamlin. Up next, how about the 12th car for Team Penske? This one's going to be driven by Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney is coming off having a very solid performance at Sonoma Raceway, and before that, unfortunately, he hasn't had the finishes to back up and show for it. But Ryan Blaney has been solid at Iowa in the past, as I think he's gotten a truck win or two here in the past. He'll be looking to get his first win of the 2024 season and get Penske's second win of the year. I think Ryan Blaney will have a very solid chance and opportunity to do that this weekend. Up next, how about the 14 car for Stewart-Haas Racing? This one's going to be driven by Chase Briscoe. Chase Briscoe is also looking for a ride going into the 2025 season, though he's been linked to the Wood Brothers for next year. Chase Briscoe is looking to get distracted and go to one of his hometown tracks, I believe. He's been very, very solid in the Xfinity Series, won his first career Xfinity Series race back in 2019 at the track, and will be looking to win his first Cup race of 2024 this weekend, and hopefully that will help him get a chance and opportunity to find a better ride in 2025. Up next, how about the 15 car for Ware Racing? This one's going to be driven by Kaz Grala. We've seen drivers like Brian Lee Herbst, and we've also seen Cody Ware make starts, but Kaz Grala, of course, has driven a majority of races, and Kaz coming off of a very solid run last week at Sonoma. We could see drivers like Haley Deegan or Matt Benedetto get a chance and opportunity to make starts in this seat, but once again, Kaz Grala will be back behind the wheel of the 15 car this weekend. Up next, how about the 16 car for Kaulig Racing? This one's going to be driven by AJ Allmendinger, who makes his second consecutive start after finishing the top 10 last week at Sonoma. We've seen a lot of drivers in this car like Shane Van Gisbergen and Ty Dillon, and AJ will be looking to have a good run, though I'm not expecting much considering the short track program for Kaulig has been struggling this year. We'll see what AJ Allmendinger can do as he looks to get a very good finish once again this weekend at Iowa Speedway. Up next, how about the 17 car for RFK Racing? This one's going to be driven by Chris Buescher. Chris Buescher is coming off of finishing in the top 5 last week at Sonoma Raceway and is looking to get it back-to-back top 5s and will also be looking for his first win of the year. I think Chris Buescher will have a lot of help because of the tests they had earlier. I think Buescher will have a solid chance and opportunity because the short track program has been pretty solid for RFK this year. He looks to have a really strong and positive run this weekend at Iowa Speedway. Up next, how about the 19 car for Joe Gibbs Racing? This one's going to be driven by Martin Truex Jr. Mark Truex Jr. is coming off a very unfortunate finish after having fuel issues at the end of the race. He's looking to have a good run this weekend and turn the corner, and we still don't know what his future is looking like currently for 2025, but many think he could make a decision not too far down the road. He looks to put that behind him, and he'll be looking to have a very solid and strong run with Joe Gibbs Racing this weekend at Iowa Speedway. Up next, how about the 20 car for Joe Gibbs Racing? This one's going to be driven by Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell's coming off finishing in the top 10 at Sonoma, and he's been finishing in the top 10 very consistently in the last couple of weeks. He also ran the Iowa test, which I expect to be a major threat and contender for the win. It's going to be a bottom feeder race. I think Christopher Bell will use the lessons he learned from the test and will look to have a very solid and strong run this weekend at Iowa Speedway with JGR. Up next, how about the 21 car for the Wood Brothers? This one's going to be driven by Harrison Burton. Harrison Burton has struggled a lot so far throughout the 2024 season, but is looking to turn the corner this weekend at Iowa. His future is very uncertain. He's likely going to lose a seat at the end of the year, but I think Harrison Burton, if he could put that behind him and have a good run, I think that'd be really good for him. We'll see how he ends up doing, and we'll see if he can perform this weekend at Iowa Speedway. Up next, how about the 22 car for Team Penske? This one's going to be driven by Joey Logano. Joey Logano has had a very up and down year so far in the 2024 season, but I feel like the speed is starting to show up a little bit more for the 22 team. And historically, when we go to a new track or a new surface, Joey Logano is usually the guy to beat. So I think Logano could have a very strong run. I think he's almost won your Iowa in the past, if I'm not mistaken. So Logano will use that experience and be looking to get his first points-paying win of 2024 this weekend. Up next, how about the 23 car for 23XI Racing? This one's going to be driven by Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace had a very roller coaster year so far in 2024, but has also had a lot of good runs. The short track program for the 23 team has been very solid, and I do think that Bubba Wallace will have a very good run this weekend, at least a top 5 or maybe a top 10. I think he's looking to get that first win of the year and make sure he's locked in the playoffs. He's currently 13 points above the cutoff line. He's looking to make sure he has a bigger buffer going into the rest of the regular season. Up next, how about the 24 car for Hendrick Motorsports? This will once again be driven by William Byron. After a very strong start to 2024, it feels like the 2014's been floundering just a little bit. He is looking for a very solid run this weekend to turn a corner, and he hopefully will be looking to get win number 4 of 2024. He has one here back in 2017 in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. He looks to have a very solid and strong run this weekend with Hendrick. Up next, how about the 31 car for Kaulig Racing? This will once again be driven by Daniel Hendrick. Daniel Hendrick's had a couple good runs this year, but for the most part, it's been a big struggle for the Kaulig Racing organization as a whole. He wants to really turn the corner quickly, and he'll be looking to do that, as his future is also kind of a little bit uncertain as well. He's looking to turn the corner, and we'll look to have a very solid and strong performance with Kaulig Racing this weekend at Iowa Speedway. Up next, how about the 34 car for Front Row Motorsports? This will once again be driven by Michael McDowell. Michael McDowell is coming off having a very impressive performance, finishing in the runner-up position behind Kyle Larson last week at Sonoma, and we know he's going to Spire next year. He's trying to help build the team up, and he's back inside the top 20 in the standings. He still needs a win to get in the playoffs currently at the moment, but if drivers ahead of him have mistakes, he has a good run, he could definitely close up that gap and put himself in a better position in the points side of things as well. Up next, how about the 38 car for Front Row Motorsports? This will once again be driven by Todd Gillen. Todd Gillen is continuing to impress throughout the 2024 season, as I believe he's had 5 consecutive top 20 finishes in a row and has jumped almost inside the top 20 in the standings. We know he signed that contract extension with Front Row. He'll be looking to have a really strong run this weekend with Front Row, and will be looking to get win number 1 of 2024 as they continue to build up with the alliance they have with Penske. He'll be looking for a very solid and strong run this weekend at Iowa Speedway. Up next, how about the 41 car for Stewart-Haas Racing? This will once again be driven by Ryan Preece. Ryan Preece has struggled for the most part throughout the 2024 season, and his future is very uncertain in the Cup Series currently at the moment. It's unclear if he's even going to be in NASCAR at this point going into 2025. But he's good at short tracks, and this could be a track where he really turns a corner. He needs to start turning the corner for his future. We'll see what Ryan Preece can do this weekend at Iowa Speedway with the 41 team, because Ryan Preece also won here in Xfinity as well. Up next, how about the 42 car for Legacy Motor Club? This will once again be driven by John Hunter Nemechek. John Hunter Nemechek's had an up and down year in 2024, but he'll be looking to have a good performance. Luckily for him, he's won the Truck Series back in 2017. I think John Hunter could have an okay performance, but I'm not expecting him to set the world on fire. We'll see what Legacy can do, and we'll see what John Hunter Nemechek can do with Legacy Motor Club this weekend as he looks for a solid run with the team this weekend at Iowa Speedway in the 42 team. Up next, how about the 43 car for Legacy Motor Club? This will once again be driven by Eric Jones. Eric Jones has had a decent year at times, but unfortunately he's had struggles at points this year as well. He has been solid at Iowa Speedway in the Xfinity Series in the past, and I think he almost won a truck race here a few years ago as well. He's looking for a very strong run this weekend with the 43 organization as he looks to get his first win in 2024 and looks to continue building up the program and get the team better as a whole. Up next, how about the 45 car for 2311 Racing? This will once again be driven by Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick has now got the most top 10s of anybody in the field with 10 top 10s, the first driver to reach that this season, and he's been very consistent throughout the year. He's been closer to winning races. He's been decent on short tracks, but not absolutely amazing. We'll see what he can do this weekend, and we'll see if Tyler Reddick can have a solid and good enough performance for a potential win this weekend at Iowa Speedway. Up next, how about the 47 car for JTG Doherty? This will once again be driven by Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has won at Iowa Speedway a couple times back in 2011, which I think could help him. But the difference is he's on a Roush car this time around. He is in a JTG Doherty car, which is a team that's been kind of struggling at times this year. He's looking for a very solid run this weekend. We'll see what he can do with JTG Doherty Racing this weekend at Iowa Speedway. Up next, how about the 48 car for Hendrick Motorsports? This will once again be driven by Alex Bowman. Alex Bowman has had a very solid year in 2024. It's just he hasn't had the finishes to go up there and contend for a championship or wins on a week-by-week basis. But I do think if anybody can turn the corner and get that first win, it is definitely Alex Bowman. So we'll see what he can do this weekend with Hendrick Motorsports, and we'll see if he can have a good enough run. We'll see what the 48 team can do this weekend at Iowa Speedway. Up next, how about the 51 car for Ware Racing? This will once again be driven by Justin Haley. Before the issues he had at Sonoma, he was running inside the top 10, and he's been very consistently inside the top 30, a majority in the points. He's looking to get a very good run this weekend at Iowa Speedway, and we're looking to get a top 10 at least. He's been solid here, I think, in the Xfinity Series in the past. He looks for a very solid and strong run this weekend with Rick Ware at Iowa Speedway. Up next, how about the 54 car for Joe Gibbs Racing? This one once going to be driven by Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs had a very topsy-turvy year. He really started the year off strong, but he's been very inconsistent in the second half of the regular season so far. He's still looking for his first career Cup Series win. I think he's got a decent chance and opportunity. I think he's won here in ARCA in the past, so he'll be looking for a very strong, good performance this weekend at Iowa Speedway with JGR and Joe Gibbs Racing. Up next, how about the 6.6 car for NBM Motorsports? This will once again be driven by Davis Starr, who I believe makes the second or third start of 2024 in Cup. Davis Starr will be, of course, Timmy Hill's driven. We could see something like a Matt DiBenedetto Sage Cameron at some point this year. But Davis Starr is looking to get that car up to speed a little more because it seems like every time that car is on track, it has struggled. We'll see what Davis Starr can do this weekend with NBM Motorsports. Up next, how about the 71 car for Spire Motorsports? This will once again be driven by Zane Smith. Zane Smith's had back-to-back top 20 finishes, which is going to be huge because his future is very uncertain in the Cup Series currently at the moment, with rumors of the grandfather clause coming in with the new charter deal. He looks to have a good run this weekend. He's been decent here in the past, I think, in Xfinity and 1 or 2 starts he ran. He'll look to be having a very solid and good performance this weekend at Iowa Speedway with the Spire Motorsports organization. Up next, how about the 77 car for Spire Motorsports? This will once again be driven by Carson Hocevar. Carson Hocevar has had a very, very solid year so far this year and is currently leading the Rookie of the Year standings, now in 21st or 22nd in the points. Carson's looking for a very strong run with Spire Motorsports this weekend, and I do expect the Carson will have a good chance and opportunity to at least get a top 15 or maybe even a top 10 with the experience he has at short tracks like this. He looks for a good performance and good run this weekend at Iowa Speedway. And finally, let's talk about the 99 car for Trackhouse Racing. This, of course, will be driven by Daniel Suarez, who is expected to sign a contract extension in the not-so-distant future. Daniel Suarez has had a very unfortunate year so far. It's been a down year, but Trackhouse has been struggling a bit. He'll look to turn the corner. He'll look for a very good run. He'll be looking to get what will be his third or fourth top 10 of 2024 this weekend. We'll see what we can do this weekend at Iowa Speedway with the 99 team. So, that is the intros for the 2024 Iowa Corn 350. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support on Patreon as well. Let's get below that and comment your thoughts below on today's video. What are your thoughts about the intro list? You're going to let me know your thoughts in the comments below. We might have any more videos dropping today on the channel. Tomorrow we're going to have a NASCAR news video to talk about the charter negotiations situation there. We're also going to have Xfinity Series race picks for Iowa. And then Thursday we'll have Cup Series race picks for Iowa. Got a ton of great content dropping that I cannot wait for you guys to check out. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode. And I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.